Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the sarcastic barman, and welcome to another night here on Lazy Booze, where all the stupid and fun is to be had every Thursday. What the fuck?
Come on!
So tonight's video, just please let me go.
Stop crying and read the note.
So tonight's video,
Come on, before anyone finds us.
Tonight's video is by Blue Earth Media. Go and subscribe to his channel and like his videos. Roll the intro.
Blue Earth Media here. Blue Earth Media here. Blue Earth Media here. And welcome to the Anniston Museum of Natural History. And welcome to the Aldridge Coal Mine Museum. And welcome to Fort Gaines. Most people probably could not point Mobile, Alabama out on a map. But on August 5th, 1864, a battle took place here that changed U.S. history. During the American Civil War, the Union forces blockaded all the Confederate ports, and one by one took each port back. After the Union took New Orleans, Mobile became the primary port for the Confederacy. It was protected by 3 forts: Fort Morgan, Fort Gaines, and Fort Powell, along with the ironclad the CSS Tennessee. Rear Admiral David Farragut led the charge that would become the Battle of Mobile and take the Confederacy head-on. Breaking through the lines, he took the port and dealt a massive blow to the CSA, which fell shortly after. This fort gives us a window into that time, so damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead.
My name is Robert Bean. I'm the park ranger here at Fort Gaines. Fort Gaines is one of about 40 masonry forts built from the coast of Maine down around Florida and over to Louisiana to protect major seaports in the United States. This fort protects, along with Fort Morgan on the other side of the bay, the entrance to Mobile Bay. The state of Alabama became a state in 1819, and at that point the United States realized they needed to protect this island because in the past it had been occupied by foreign powers. That was back before a bridge was built to the island. This was very isolated down here. And in the 1950s, when the bridge was built, that's when it opened up as a museum and historic site.
Shortly after the fort was finished in 1861, it was taken over by Confederate forces without much conflict. Then in 1864, it saw its first major action in the Battle of Mobile Bay.
Well, it was a large naval battle. The Confederates had several ships which met the Union fleet when they came into the bay. Of course, the Federal fleet had to pass Fort Morgan first. That's where your deep water channel is. They lost one ship, the USS Tecumseh, which struck a mine. That was the worst loss for the Federal fleet. Over here on this side, it was more of a land battle. Union forces brought their troops ashore to the west of us on the island, and they brought their artillery and mounted the artillery on a large sand dune that's not very far from here. And they actually had the advantage of height. They could not only shoot at the fort from there, they could shoot into it. That's what really doomed this fort. Took about 3 days of shelling, but they managed to knock down all but one of the guns in this fort out of about 26. This fort had to surrender after 3 days.
Fort Gaines is one of the last remaining Civil War forts lining the coast of the eastern United States. Here you can explore all the battlements, the living quarters, and even the powder batteries. They still have original period piece guns lining the walls of the fort still. And if you ask them nicely, they'll even set one off for you.
The cannons that we have left, we have 4 originals, and they were original to the fort. And they date back to 1832. They're called 32-pound smoothbores. And those old guns were designed at the time to fire at wooden ships. And it's actually quite sad that at the time of the war between the states, those guns were already obsolete, especially when you throw in the modern ships of the time, the ironclads. The 32-pounders had no effect on them.
Robert was even kind enough to bring out one of the working guns they have at the fort. Even though it's on the smaller side and it shoots a blank, this is still an experience you will never forget.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
But then, naturally, once you're done having fun, you have to clean the cannon.
Well, each museum has its own individual artifacts. We have a really good collection here, thanks to a lot of generous donations over the years. And most of the artifacts came from the site here. I like the big artillery shells.
Fire in the hole!
Of course, COVID has interrupted a lot of things this year. We usually have groups of volunteers who come down here to help out with the fort, whether it's doing some painting or even the ones who know how to do brickwork. We've had volunteers doing brickwork over the years. So there are many ways to help us out. Hopefully when the COVID gets over with, we'll get back to normal here. We do have reenactments as well, or we have in the past, and hope to get back with that as well. We get no funding whatsoever from the government. So we are self-sustaining through our gift shop and the price of admission. That's it.
This fort certainly is a step into the past. And if you enjoy military history, then it's definitely worth a visit. Fort Gaines may lie on an unassuming island out in the Gulf of Mexico, but it's a key part in American history that we can never forget. And who knows, there could just be something similar in your hometown. So go out and look, because there might just be a part of world history sitting in your backyard.
Come down and see us. So there's 2 ways to get here, either by the ferry or the bridge. That's really helped out the island in general, brought in a lot of people, but we're still a quiet spot down here, and we hope to remain that way.
Now, I hope everyone enjoyed that video. There's a whole string of the museum videos over on Blue Earth Media's channel. There's also stuff about his observatory, for anyone who didn't know. He's creating what may possibly be the 6th largest observatory in Alabama in a shed, but whatever. I'm not going to moan at that, with a 14-inch telescope, and that's going to be goddamn awesome. But as the last closing out bit, everyone please go and check out his channel. Links are all down below. I'm going to close out with the first video I can find on his channel that is water sticking to a ball. Apart from that, go check out the rest of the Blues this evening, and I do have another video out tonight looking at evolution and looking at one of the first videos I ever did. So enjoy. I'm the Sarcastic Barman. Good night.
I've heard a lot of flat earthers say that they want a demonstration of a ball that is able to spin at the same speed of the earth, traveling at the same speed of the earth, and water still be able to stick onto it using gravity. Now I've come up with a demonstration that doesn't prove the gravity part, but proves the rest of it. And it will show that water can in fact stick to a ball that is spinning at the same speed as the earth, traveling through space. Now, a little bit of context. If the Earth was the size of a billiard ball, which this is slightly larger than, the difference between the top of Mount Everest and the bottom of the Mariana Trench would be less than 0.005 inches. I think it is safe to say that that means that the depth of the oceans would be less than 0.003 inches, given that the Mariana Trench makes up for 11 of the 20-kilometer difference that between the 2 points. And that the depth of the water, when I wet this ball, when we wet the ball, we can tell that the depth of the water, when it settles, is clearly larger than 0.003 inches. I think it is safe to assume that. So then I will set it on this motor. Whenever this decides to focus. There we go. Set the ball right there. Now this motor is a mount that you put on a telescope that will spin at the same rate that the sky spins above us. Therefore, this is making one rotation every 24 hours, the same angular velocity as Earth. And that would be 0.0000729 radians per second. That is a very tiny amount. That is one repetition, one revolution every 24 hours. Not 24 minutes, 24 hours. So let's wet the ball one more time, because it dries out. That's not part of the demonstration, but it is. Set it on top of that to where it is spinning at 0.0000729 radians per second. And we can clearly see that the water is sticking to it and not flying all over the place. We can also see, well, that this ball can fly through the air at massive great speeds, which if this was actually in relation to the Earth would probably be close to the speed of light when this thing decides to focus. There we go. We can have this thing fly through the air, this and that, and there's no water flying from this Earth. We can do that number, and the water ain't flying from this Earth. The same depth, if not deeper, than the water on Earth is not flying from this Earth, no matter how the fuck we spin or do any of this. Why? Well, actually, in this demonstration, it's because of surface tension. But the whole point of this is to debunk your claim that it's not possible. Now, this does not prove why it does it. It does not prove how. All this proves is that your claim that it's impossible to do so is false. Your claim that it is impossible for water to stick to a ball that is spinning at 0.0000729 radians per second is false.